Hi there, Loy Machedo. Sweeney here from LoyMachedo.com. Who's Loy Machedo and Think Personal Branding? I was asked this rather interesting question by one of the YouTube followers. And the question that he asked me is, Loy, what if tomorrow your daughter, since I have a baby girl, what if your daughter, starts dating a guy who has tattoos like you, who, wants to date a freak? So how would you react to that? Or let's say she's in love with a guy who has ink all over his body, piercings, and so I thought it would be a nice time to answer that question. Now, this is my thought pattern. First and foremost is anyone having a lot of tattoos on his body doesn't make the person good or doesn't make the person bad. In the same way, a person may not have any tattoos on their body or may just look normal, but may have certain habits which are really disturbing. For example, I know a lot of guys who do not have tattoos, but they smoke, drink, they do drugs, they date women, and they're very, violent. So, like for example, if you see some Arab Muslims, they don't have tattoos on their body, but some of them have some, not all. Some of them are really horrible habits. In fact, some of my friends, not friends, I would say acquaintances, who work in the West, who work for the banking corporate industry, because they work in the service-based industry, they don't have tattoos. But I can tell you without a doubt, they have all the vices that you can possibly think of. And some of them do things which are rather questionable. Like, I know this guy from Sweden who I bumped into on Facebook. And this guy, he likes underage children. Now, it's not for me to judge him. This is his preference. And he comes to third world countries just to satisfy this urge of his. So, keeping all that aside, there are a couple of things I want you to keep in mind. Number one is, if a guy has tattoos on his body or on his face, everywhere else, means he is trying to make a statement. He is trying to be a rebel. He is trying to get attention. Now, this obviously would not be good because he wants attention to himself. That's the psychology behind a person who has tattoos and wants to get tattoos. And the second thing is, the person who gets tattooed is being a rebel in society. Like, for example, myself. In my case, however, I was lucky that being a rebel meant not following the outdated rules and creating a lifestyle for myself. Now, that doesn't mean every guy who's tattooed is like me. Now, I don't smoke, I don't drink. I used to have girlfriends before, plenty of them. I stopped that. I'm not at all violent. I've never got into a single fight. So that doesn't mean that all the guys who are tattooed are like me. Many of them, for example, if you check the Philippines, if you check Mexicans, they're pretty violent. They have tattoos and they're very much dangerous, And in certain Japanese cultures and Japanese associations, they have gangs that if you have tattoos, you belong to a particular gang. And that can be dangerous. So the point I'm trying to make is, there is no one size fits all. Everyone is different, everyone's unique. And you have to be careful as to how you categorize people. Okay? So, having said that, coming to the main question. Now, what would happen if, let's say, my daughter did date someone who is, one second, my dog is here. I just have to silence my dog with this. No. I have to keep my dog quiet sometimes. So, the question here is, so what would happen if my daughter bought a guy Now, you need to understand that communication with your child, with your daughter, doesn't start when he or she brings their first love or a date home. Communication with your child starts at home, and it starts right from the time the child is small. Now, if it was me, I would be having this conversation with my daughter or my child from a very early age, because these are decisions by which a girl, especially a girl child, can get pregnant, can have children, can be abused, can get into life-changing decisions that can destroy them. So with regards to my child, I would have these conversations very early on. Like, for example, I would take my daughter, I'd show her girls who work in bars, who are prostitutes, who actually have to give blowjobs for hardly $10. I would show her, girls who are dating really old men or who are in abusive relationships. I would even take my daughter to the jails, the prison camps, and show them how life is in prison camps for people who have done drugs, people who have made the wrong choices in life. And I would show my daughter how ridiculous it is, females who are insecure, who keep getting surgery, who keep getting, seeking people's attention. For that, communication is required, constant communication. I have to earn my daughter's trust. I can't just, ignore her all the while and one fine day just tell her, no, listen, these are the rules of the house. Trust has to be built. Habits form from the house itself, But the most important thing is I would teach my daughter the principles of hard work, because without working hard, you cannot survive and sustain. Another principle I would teach my daughter is not to be like the snowflake generation. What do I mean by that is, if anyone criticizes you, makes fun of you, has a different opinion, you should not feel upset. You should not feel, no, this is not the right way. People have different opinions. People have different, belief systems. You need to adjust. You can't handle something, fine, ignore what it is you can't handle and focus on what you can handle. So these are the habits I need to build. And obviously my daughter looking at me would follow what I do, not follow what I say. One of the challenges I think I would face as a parent is, because I am online 24/7, I'm in front of my iMac, I'm always interacting with my iPad, my daughter or my child would want to also take up that lifestyle. Now that is a challenge I would face. I still don't have answers for that. I mean, I want my child to take up hard labor, especially to get her fundamentals right, like farming, like opening up a shop, not being addicted to social media. I still have to figure that one out. But one thing stays constant is my child will not have access to social media, a smartphone, a handheld device, until it's the right age where she's independent and she can manage by herself, especially the thought pattern. Because nowadays, if you give children social media and handheld devices, they get addicted to it, and that is something which I don't want. I especially see a lot of youngsters being addicted to social media. It's very dangerous. That is why, if you actually look at it, most of the successful and rich individuals, like from Bill Gates to Mark Zuckerberg to whomsoever, they do not give their children, handheld devices or social media. They just don't. So, in answer to your question, the getting a freak or weirdo home and saying I love this guy, whatever, it is a conversation I will need to have with my child from a very young age, to tell her that not everyone who looks like me is a good guy, and not everyone who is looking normal He's a nice guy. I'd have to show the realities of life, where relationships are concerned, where friendships are concerned. What is the impact of having sex at a pretty early age? What does it do to you? What is the impact? Because, you know, if a girl gets pregnant, I mean, it's an end. What do you do next? You'll have to take care of the child, breastfeed the child. Your body changes. No man wants to adopt someone else's child. So what do you do then? It'll impact all areas of her life. And I'm not going to make it easier for her to get money or have access to good things in life. So yeah, these are the things that would be very important. Now, obviously, your question would also be, what if, even after all this, she still gets the guy home? Well, if she still gets the guy home, I would do my best to prove it to her that this guy is not the right guy by not, you know, like blocking him from being around her, but rather exposing what I need to show. Like, for example, if he likes drinking, invite him to a party or something, get him dead drunk. And then when he misbehaves with her, she will learn a lesson. Let's say, for example, he is a freak. Make sure that he's caught red-handed somewhere and let her have a look at how he behaves. See, as a parent, as an individual, I can do only so much. I can show her what are the ugly sides. I can warn her. I can caution her. I can do my best to prevent her, but I can't stop her. You know, there's only so much I can do. But finally, end of the day, after everything is said and done, if she has still made up her mind to do whatever she wants, I'll just draw out the rules that if you get pregnant and you have a baby and he breaks up with you, you take care of the child. I cannot look after the child. You have to manage. I think most important thing is making her understand that she needs to work, because I'm not going to sit and babysit her. She's going to work. So when she works, she'll understand how difficult life is. And here in Thailand, I'll tell you, it's not surprising to see a lot of 15, 16-year-olds have boyfriends, riding scooters. I mean, you just see it. I see so many youngsters have children. I see so many girls, hanging on boys. You can just make out are rebels. You can make out that they are just trying to look cool or sound cool, or it's really disturbing. So this is a reality that is, part of everyone's life today. And given social media, where you can interact with members of the opposite sex, where you have peer pressure, you cannot stop. You just cannot stop. People from interacting with one another. So, like I said, as a parent, I can only do so much. I can do my best and then see where things move on from there. So these are my thoughts. Let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section below, because I'm sure some of you are parents, some of you have children. You know what I'm talking about. You know the realities of life. So put your comments down below. I'll read them and I'll respond. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't like it, thumbs down. And this is me signing off for now. Take care.